sometimes like I've mentioned before, love is blind. So sometimes you don't see how your significant other is treating your family and friends. That could be an issue too. Just because when you're in a relationship with them, they're really nice to you, doesn't mean that they treat your friends and family nicely or with respect or
That's true.
or those are things you should pay attention to. Or people they don't know, are they polite to them? Maybe that's something to think about and evaluate. Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Mismatch Show. This is Linda.
And this is Will, and I am sleepy.
Yeah, Will just made each of us a double shot over cashew milk.
Yum.
And if you want to know the exact steps on how to make our cashew milk latte, we have an Instagram post for that.
Nice job. So go to our Instagram at Magnetic Mismatch.
Yeah, and follow us there. We do quite some quirky things.
Just you.
Oh, I'm a character.
I'm the normal one in the relationship, so.
All right.
Anyway. Can we get to the topic yet, or should we continue to share a little bit about our day so far?
Just full today. Just full. I feel guilt. I'm going to do an extra 20 minutes of walking later or something.
Today we've been indulging.
Indulged today.
And yesterday.
We ordered a pizza.
Extra large pizza.
Yeah.
Pepperoni, mushrooms, cheese.
What else? Oh, Italian sausage.
Oh, yeah. That was good.
Yeah.
So good. And that was it.
Yeah.
End the story.
And then and then I started Instagram strolling.
Uh-huh.
And then I found this place called Mr. Openyaki.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell I keep wanting to call it pinwheel pastry, but I think the real name is Will Pastry.
Will Cakes.
Will Cakes Pastry. WHE.
So you gotta describe it to people that may not have tried it before.
So it's like a spongy, doughy, circular. It's about 3 inches circular in diameter.
Uh-huh.
And it's small. But pretty filling. And inside there's different fillings. You could get matcha coconut or red bean or taro, whatever. There's
sesame.
They have a lot.
Yeah.
Their menu is pretty big. And then it's this, or we got custard. It's creamy filling and it's warm. It's
fresh out of the oven.
So good. But it reminded me of my childhood. We actually brought some over to my parents' house, and as soon as we left, my mom was like, "Oh, this is the same one as when we were younger. We used to go to this market called Hawaii Market.
Mm-hmm.
We stopped going there because it's really busy. But there's this lady who had a cart in front of the market, the supermarket, and she sold those pastries. And every time I went to the market with my mom, she would buy me 1 or 2 of those pastries, and that was our reward for going to the market with them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Good. Yeah, so good.
Still kind of how you remembered it.
Yeah,
tasting.
Yeah,
I
I haven't had one of those in a very long time.
I could tell. I mean, I was like, oh, cool. Let's each get one and call it a day. Try it out. And we got to get at least a dozen or something.
Hey,
just in case. I got to have one for this day, for that day, for that one.
Yeah, I got some for your parents too.
You did.
See? It's not just for me.
Yeah.
It's probably nostalgic for them too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So
we had that, and then we had
boba.
Our weekly. Ooh, is it weekly?
No, it's probably every other week. Yeah. Got a boba. They had a matcha pudding, but we didn't drink it yet. It's in the fridge. Probably saving it for tomorrow because I'm too full right now. After the pizza and the pastry, it's pretty heavy.
Do you like how I criticize and I'm judging you, but I'm
you ate just
I'm in the same bowl.
And you encouraged it.
Yeah. But that's fine. I mean, look, next week you're going to have a long weekend. And we figured, you know what? We get to treat ourselves because it's been a while too.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah, there you go.
go. Well, now that we've shared our fat stories,
our unhealthy diet for the weekend.
we should get into our topic of the day, which is
help. What should I do if my family and friends don't like my significant other?
Run.
Run for the hills.
Run for the hills. No, I'm just kidding, of course. Damn, that's a
tough.
heavy one.
Yeah. I think it's so tough because as the middle person, that's what you are, the person introducing your significant other to your friends, and you being the spouse or
significant
other of, the person you're dating or whatever relationship you're in.
And they're meeting for the first time.
Yeah, you're always the one kind of having to mediate. Right?
That's what your job is, though.
Yeah. But it's hard because you're the middle person and you care about both sides. Because one side is your friend and one side is the person where, you kind of have to come home to or, answer to at the end of it.
Can't run away from the mom.
Yeah. So
it's nerve-wracking, especially if it is the first time you're introducing these like strangers basically to each other. Right. They're strangers to each other, of course. Right.
Yeah.
And you want everybody to get along. You want them to like each other. But sometimes you might feel like, I don't know, like it's out of your control in a way. But there's definitely things you can do too, right? Before you introduce the two parties or whatever.
Yeah. I think as the mediator, the person that's introducing and facilitating the whole first meetup. I think it's very important that you kind of have to set the premise for it.
Yeah.
I know it's so easy to, especially when you're first starting to date somebody, it's so easy to just go to your friends and talk about, but I'm not sure this bad thing happened, or that person is kind of like this, because it kind of sets the mood of how your friends and family will perceive your significant other.
Yeah, because like let's say you and I were dating, and because my parents or whatever, your parents, we don't know each other yet. We haven't gotten to that part of the relationship or even gotten introduced to friends yet. And let's say we get into an argument or there's a stressful day, right?
Yeah.
And then what's the first instinct you think, when we get into an argument?
Is to vent to your family and friends.
Yeah, you would go vent to your closest people, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And so the problem with that, I think, is that your friends and family, they don't know that person yet.
Yeah. And it's like out of love and, they're very protective.
Yeah.
Off the bat.
They're going to take your side.
They're going to take your side. And they're not going to like that person already.
Before you've even met them and before they even had a chance to see the good stuff, right? Because if every time you are, calling your friends or family to only vent, well, when are you actually telling them about the positive qualities? Because we tend to go to them more when there's something happening, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like you got into this huge argument or you guys disagreed on something. Oh, Linda's always like this, right?
Yeah.
She's not very considerate or she's not tidy or this or that. And then it's like they have this image built up in their mind of who you are before they even got to know you. And they can't balance it with the good stuff, right? They don't have anything to go off of.
Yeah, and when you're venting, it's kind of not fair to the other person because you don't talk about your mistake.
Yeah, it's all one side.
It's right? One side. It's she's this, he's that, but it's like, wait, what did you do in the equation?
Yeah, to cause that argument or whatever.
Yeah,
that disagreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the problem with when it's one-sided is, again, like, of course your parents and your closest friends or family are going to take your side. And they don't have context, right? So by the time you meet, you bring the two parties together and you want them to like each other, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. right? They might already know like all these stories that they've heard.
Yeah.
And now it's like they're going to look for those things too, when they're interacting with the other person.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. But, and I think another thing we tend to do is we can actually, there is a such thing to build up a person so much that when they don't meet those standards, then that's also an issue.
Yeah.
I think it's best to just keep it neutral as much as you can. Say, of course, praise
Really? Is that what you did? You only said neutral things about me?
I mean, you say some good things, but not to the
You
point.
sprinkle it in.
Yeah, but not to the point where, you're only saying so many good things that they don't meet up to the expectation.
And they might be skeptical too. It's like, wait, this sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, I think a good keeping it neutral and sprinkling it in a couple of good things here and there. It's good.
Huh.
But I think you should let your friends make the judgment themselves.
Really? Damn. Is that what you did for me? Because I only said good things about you. Now I feel gypped. What the heck? Why'd you get quiet?
I don't know.
I'm like, she's like the sweetest girl. She's smart. She's driven. What? You want me to keep going?
Yeah, I'm just waiting.
You're like looking at me, expecting me to go list this whole stuff. But no, I said really good things about you. And even when we had, little bumps along the road, right, during our dating, I didn't really want to bring that part up to my parents or like to my friends. I didn't want to share too much about that side of things. I mean, I would vent from time to time, but it was always very mindful of what I said because I knew that like what I said about you is going to have a lot of weight, and I would expect my friends and family typically to have my back. But I mean, whether that's right or wrong, but like I would like, hey, you're my friends and family. Like you guys should take my side. It's a little like, one-sided, but of course, and you're not there to defend yourself either.
Yeah.
Nothing
I
wrong
guess
with
there's two ways to do it then, right?
Yeah.
I took a different approach and you
so
took
objective.
and you decided to go with the just praising the person route, and I chose to keep it on the positive neutral side.
Wow. Is that how you call it? Positive neutral?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, I want my friends to be honest with me, right? I don't want to just build this perfect image. Either one, it could backfire because they...
Hold up. You're getting ahead of yourself. I never said anything about perfect. I didn't build you up to be perfect.
I know, but I don't want to build someone up so much that it's like,
Right.
wow, he's like the perfect dude. And then they find flaws in you.
Even if it's true. Yeah, even if it's true.
And then they find flaws and it's like, wait a minute, something is off. It's not,
what Linda said wasn't true.
Yeah, or it could have been like, or they could get suspicious.
Yeah. What's he hiding?
Yeah, what is he hiding? Is he only acting that way, or is he that perfect only around Linda?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would hope that when my friends and family meets my significant other, is for them to tell me their honest, true opinion.
Okay, that's
because
fair.
I feel like sometimes when you're dating someone, you're so blind, you only see the good things in them.
That's very true. You love is blind, right? You say it all the time. And it is true. Like when you're in love, or at least you're dating somebody, or you're so close with that person, you really can't take an objective view sometimes because you're so blinded by only the positives, or we choose to see that, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes your friends and family might, as an outsider that has no real like history with that person, they can tell you like, hey, did you notice about this, or did you notice this about this person that you might not have even caught, or what there's a reason why they don't like them, right? Which kind of brings us to how important it is to actually, if you're in a case where your friends or family doesn't like your sig other the first time they meet them, or maybe not even just the first time, but like there's a reason, right? And instead of just getting defensive or like, well, you don't support me or anything like that, it might be a good idea to ask them and really figure out like, well, what don't you like about them?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think sometimes, like I've mentioned before, love is blind. So sometimes you don't see how your significant other is treating your family and friends. That could be an issue too, just because, when you're in a relationship with them, they're really nice to you,
Yeah,
doesn't mean that they treat your friends and family nicely, or with respect,
that's true.
or those are things you should pay attention to.
Mm.
Or people they don't know, are they polite to them? Do they treat, quote unquote, people less than them with respect still? Right? That's huge. That speaks volume on their core value.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't align with yours, maybe that's something to think about and evaluate.
Huh. It's a good point. Yeah. I think we all know people like that we've come across where they're like super sweet to their partner, which is great.
Which is nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Good for them.
But then it's like, wait, they're a completely different person when they're dealing and interacting with everybody else. It's like,
Yeah.
it's only them two, and everybody else, I'll just be a complete, jerk, which is not good.
Or are they, you should notice things like, are they making an effort to getting to know your friends and family? Or are they glued to their phone, or not interested, or
Not present.
or disengage?
Right. Like yeah, exactly. Like maybe this isn't the first time they're meeting. Now maybe we're talking about a couple of times that they've met, and they're, you're going together as a couple to a function, right? A family function, an event, a party, whatever. And they're just kind of like isolating themselves, glued to their phone, like you said, or if people try to talk to them and try to get to know them and just being friendly, but they're kind of like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't even want to try. And it's not because they're shy necessarily. It's just they don't want to put in the effort because they don't care enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. But then it could go the other way around too, right? Are your friends excluding them from the conversation?
You're trying to stir up some drama?
It's true. It goes both ways.
Yeah. You have a tight circle.
Yeah. Is it cliquey? Are they not including your significant other?
Is it welcoming?
It's
intimidating.
It is very intimidating.
As the new person coming into the group, right? That's always difficult.
Yeah.
Because you want people to like you and be accepted. But at the same time, if the other people are not even open to the idea and they're purposely trying to exclude you, that's hard.
Mm-hmm. Or they're so cliquey that it's hard for your significant other who doesn't have any prior, inside jokes and stuff with your friends, that they don't really know what's going on. So it's kind of hard to just jump into a conversation when your friends are not making it easy for them.
What would you do in that situation if like you introduce your spouse to your group of friends, and then everyone's like closed off? They don't even want to like get to know you or whatever, or make an effort.
I think at that point, you should kind of like open up a conversation where that your significant other has interest in, and so does your friends, to make it easy for everyone to just kind of chime in.
Would you call your friends out or family?
I think it depends. If it's like a first meeting, it might be so awkward.
Yeah.
That they
not a first meeting. Let's say it's a couple meetings in, like the 5th time you guys are hanging out,
and they're just purposely closing off your significant
or you feel that way. Maybe it's not on purpose. Maybe it's just, I don't know, like something's off.
Yeah. And is your significant other saying anything, or
they're trying, right? Like they're and they, let's say after one of the functions, like, hey, I felt kind of like excluded or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird, but I am making an effort.
Yeah. I think I wouldn't call them out in front of everybody, but I would send maybe a group message, politely asking them, hey, blank is really trying.
Yeah.
Can you guys please just make another effort? Or maybe they don't even know.
Yeah, that's true
they're
too, that they're
closed
doing
off.
that.
Because sometimes, especially a group of friends where
Yeah,
you've practically grown up together, and you have
sure.
so many inside things,
Experiences.
experiences and stuff. Sometimes you don't know that you're just gravitating towards them
Yeah.
and making someone feel excluded. Maybe it's not even intentional.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to bring awareness to your
Mhm. friends.
friends.
Yeah, like I meant more in privately, not
Yeah.
like put them on blast. Like that would be bad too. Yeah, I think it's kind of going back to what you were saying. Like to set the premise, to almost prep both sides, to everybody that's meeting for whatever reason, like the first time or multiple times. It's getting them a little bit of an idea and building it up too, right? Like the expectation is we want everybody to get along if possible.
Yeah. So what do you do if your significant other is rude and let's say he or she doesn't bother putting any efforts getting to know your family and friends?
Then I think, and if the other parties have done their part, which I mean, what I mean by that is if they've made effort, they've been polite, and they're not really doing anything wrong or to antagonize, right, your partner, and it's clearly the fault of your partner at this point, then as the spouse, I feel like that's your job, because your friends and your family won't have the ability to call them out or like to talk to them about their behavior.
Yeah.
You as the spouse need to take ownership of that, being in the relationship, right? Uh, and let them know like, hey, what's going on, and I feel like you're coming off as rude or whatever, right? You need to have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
I don't think you should just pretend like everything is okay and then expect things to somehow magically work out over time, because it won't, right? It's
Yeah.
not going to get resolved. I don't
But
know. What do you think about that?
yeah, I mean, as the middle person, yes, you definitely need to talk to
It's
your spouse.
uncomfortable, but you have
It's
to do it.
very uncomfortable, but I guess it's a good point to talk to your spouse about it or significant other about it. But it's also good to, hear their side
Yeah.
as well. But let's say if they kind of just shrug it off and
It's
that's
like, yeah, I don't really like your friends or whatever.
yeah, so what do you do?
Find out. Well, what don't you like about them? And I think maybe too, it's like, I guess being realistic too, you can't expect everybody to like everybody because there's so many different personalities, right? And let's say, I think for me, I would just mainly be looking at effort. I would be looking at effort. Are you trying to at least get along with them? And if they're trying, everybody's trying, and it's just there's no chemistry, and that's fine, right? Your friends don't necessarily mean that they're gonna be my friends to that same level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's okay if that's the case, as long as people are cordial, respectful, and you're making an effort and you're present. Then, and if it still doesn't click, then it is what it is. I don't think we have to push it any further. But if it's one person, like your spouse, that's purposely, just not wanting to try, not willing to give it an effort, or being rude or whatever, then it is, and it's clearly their issue. Then I would talk to that person. And if they're not willing to address it, and I look at this as this is a potential serious relationship, I don't know if I would keep staying in that relationship. Then that would be a almost like a deal breaker for me.
Yeah. I think for me too. I think it's important for me to be dating the same person in the relationship. Like how they treat me is how they treat others, like their family and friends. If they're just nice to me, but yet they're not nice to other people, to
Mhm.
me, that's almost a red flag.
Yeah.
What's your motive in this relationship? Or, it gets me a little like cautious and suspicious.
Yeah.
It's like, why aren't you nice to other people? Why are you only nice to me? And I've seen relationships like that
Yeah.
where, the significant other is only nice to their,
Right. To
um,
who they're dating or
yeah, to
whatever.
who they're dating. But then yet they're not really friendly with other people.
Yeah.
And it makes me, it makes me feel like they're not being authentic.
Right. Yeah. So I guess it comes back to our topic, right? Our question directly is like, what should somebody do then if your friends or your family really don't like your significant other? And what we've been talking about is more preventative, which is always the best.
Always the best.
Try to kind of set the right expectations, speak positive neutrally about the other person. I'm doing air quotes, by the way. So that at least that person, I agree, they should have the ability to formulate their own opinion about it, but I want them to at least have like a nice head start, at least, or a little bit. At least it shouldn't be a negative opinion right off the bat, is my point. It should either at least be neutral or neutral positive. I don't know. Positive,
yeah, it's kind of like okay. For example, I love packaging, right? That's my jam. Whenever I buy an item, the first thing I fill out is the packaging. But it's like kind of like the packaging. Sometimes the packaging is so extravagant and nice, but the product is mediocre. It's a bigger letdown than when the packaging is really nice and the product is also good. It enhances the product.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying, the significant other is like an object or anything, but it's just to give you an example of that's why I like to keep things positively neutral.
Sure.
Is that it's like positive right off the bat, but it's like the expectation is not so high.
It's realistic.
That when they, unwrap this gift and it doesn't meet that expectation, it's a bigger letdown.
Sure.
Then,
okay.
when it's neutral.
I see you.
Yeah.
It's a little safer way to play it.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah. Okay. So what else do you want to add to this?
So we talked about setting the premise by and then preventative, right? To kind of set the mood, the tone for the initial introduction. And then we kind of talked about kind of facilitating the relationships and the conversations, right?
Right.
If you feel like your friends are, excluding your significant other, then you kind of have to step in and open the window for your significant other to, kind of chime in and and get their thoughts out.
And vice versa.
Yeah, and vice versa. So you kind of have to mediate the conversation.
Yeah, you're like the peacemaker in this. Like you really are. Yeah.
And I think if it's on the sour end where
let's say everybody's tried everything they possibly can.
Yeah, and it's just not working. Then you kind of have to ask your friends, hey, why don't you like my significant other? You might get a lot of good insights to what is happening.
Yeah.
Right? You could be so blinded by love or feelings that you don't see the things that your significant other is doing that, it's kind of it's
putting off
others. But then if your significant other is complaining about how your friend is excluding him or her, that could be an issue too.
With your friends too.
Yeah, with your friends. Family.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That could be, but either way, it's your job to kind of figure that out, right?
Yeah.
Since you're trying to bring these people together.
And it's not easy. You have to realize, there's a lot of personalities.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Clash.
Yeah. See, the thing is, family will always be family, right? Whether you get along or not. But to bring another person in and expect immediate acceptance, sometimes it's a bit hard or unrealistic. So,
and that's the other thing, right? It can take some time too.
Yeah.
For someone to really get to know the other person. Maybe it'll turn around. I guess you have to kind of decide how much time you want to invest to make that happen.
Yeah. And it's okay as long as all sides are cordial.
Yeah.
I think it should be okay.
Yeah. And I think, sorry to chime in too. I think like we were saying, if everyone has kind of done their part, they've put in the effort, they've done what they can. I think that's all you can ask for. And that's as much as you can control too within this situation. But sometimes it's just like, where we were talking about, it's like, it just doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work out. They're going to clash. They're going to argue. There's going to be tension. And I think you have to decide are you okay with that kind of situation going forward, right? Let's say like your family really doesn't like your partner and they have a valid reason or whatever, or even if it's not a valid reason, it's just not going to change. Are you okay with that if you continue to progress in your relationship? Like you're going to get married, right?
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself those questions. Do I see myself being married now with this person and having this same type of dynamic
Yeah. And
tension there? Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
And that could be a yes, that could be a no for you.
Yeah.
But you have to think about that, I think, right?
Yeah. And that's only something you can decide for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we can't tell you if it's yes or no.
Yeah, but I do think like we were saying kind of this whole episode so far is there are a lot of things that are within your control that you can do prior to actually bringing these two groups or whatever people together that can help facilitate the smooth, meeting.
Yeah.
So, because sometimes I feel like people kind of blame it all on just like, oh yeah, it just didn't work out, or just my family just doesn't like them, or my friends don't like them, and it's something they're doing. Like you might be doing it. Like every time you're just complaining, calling your friends, telling how bad this person is, or how crappy they treat you, and it's like, well, that's the image that you're creating, right? And they don't know all the sweet things that this person probably does for you too. But in that heat of the moment, right, we kind of just vent and we lay all the bad stuff out.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like we've mentioned, is to be objective, right? See where the issue is coming from.
Yeah.
Is it something
that's hard?
Is it something you can address? Or is it something that either party is willing to help you with, or willing to fix?
Right.
That's another issue. That's out of your control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think our takeaway is that, just really think about, have you done everything within your control? And then if the answer is yes, and everybody's done everything on their end and it still doesn't work, then you have to decide where you want to take the relationship from there.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that wraps up this episode.
Great. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Please do make sure you follow us on our Instagram at Magnetic Mismatch. We also have a YouTube channel at Magnetic Mismatch. And then make sure to, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. We are also on Spotify, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all these. Stitcher. Yes.
Yeah. And we release a new episode every Thursday. And please make sure to share our podcasts with your friends and family who you think can benefit or get entertainment from us.
Yeah, or maybe someone is in this exact situation.
Yeah.
And they maybe our conversation can help out. So,
yeah.
All right, guys, until next time.
Bye.
Bye.